Hey, I am Brett Lee Clark, and this is my channel. In today's video, I'm going to break down the top goofs of Scream 5, or Scream 2022, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, get your top movie goofs from this goof, eh? If you're new here, hi, I'm Brett, and I make random videos. Anything from top movie goofs, to cooking, to product reviews, to all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I started doing the Goof franchise with the first 3 Scream films, and then I went on and did Friday the 13th, and Jurassic Park, Speed, Top Gun, all kinds of Mean Girls, all kinds of stuff. So go check those out if you want. In October, I'm going to do the entire Halloween franchise. Yeah, Halloween. All the Halloween movies I'm going to do in October. So if you want to see those, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I might skip a Friday because I'm going to a wedding, but they'll all be in October. You'll have the entire Halloween franchise movie goofs, all of them. So subscribe if you want to see those, and if you want to see any other movies goofs, comment below and let me know which movies you guys want to see next, and maybe I'll do that one after October. Eh? Yeah, I think that's all I have to say, so let's get into the top goofs of Scream 5. Oh, really quick, by the way, we're just having fun here. Obviously, I like the Scream franchise. Obviously, I like the Scream franchise. I'm not making fun of it, we're just having fun. All movies have mistakes, it's no big deal. So don't get your panties in a wad that I'm making fun of your favorite movie, even though I'm pretty sure Scream 5 isn't most people's favorite Scream. But yeah, anyway, we're all just here having fun. Just laugh, just smile. I'm awkward, I say yeah a lot, and I say and then. But yeah, I don't know why, it's just a habit I have, so we're just having fun, okay? No one's being serious here. I suck just as much as these goofs suck, okay? So anyway, let's get into the top goofs of Scream 5. You can follow me on Instagram too, by the way. Brett Lee Clark. Okay, Scream 5, let's go, come on! So, in the very beginning, when Tara's talking to Ghostface on the phone, but she hadn't noticed him yet, and she's just walking through the house, there's 2 mess-ups here. One, when she starts going down the hallway towards the door, you can see on the back of her is a mic pack. So I know normally they use booms in movies, but when they have a walking scene, they'll mic people. So if you look on the back of her, on her back, you can see the mic pack, but also, if you look right here on her shirt when she's coming back into the kitchen, you notice the other spots too, but mainly when she's coming back into the kitchen, you can see her microphone right here in the middle of, yeah. And then as soon as it goes to the next, shot, it's no longer there, smooth. But there's a mic here and a mic on her back. Also, when she goes to the front door, you can see the cameraman in the door reflection on the right hand side of the window. You see his arm, you see an arm and you see a black sleeve in the reflection of the door. So there you go. And then, moving on. So when Ghostface is asking her questions and she answers them and stuff, and he asks her who is the main character in the Stab franchise, and she says Sidney Prescott. So he says Sidney Prescott is in all the Stab movies except the last one. Okay, well that's weird, because in Scream 4, Marley and Jenny are talking, and Jenny says that Sidney was only in the first 3, and then she threatened to sue if they continue using her story. So how would Sidney be in 4, 5, 6, and 7 if in part 4 they said she was only in the first 3? You could say, oh, they did a Sidney pretend character. It's Sidney's name, but not her story. Okay, it's still kind of annoying that they even did that at all. They should have done random, it'd been funnier had they just had random Stab movies, like an outer space one, like Jason X, and that sort of thing. It would have been funnier had they just got rid of the Sidney thing, and it would have made more sense. Because then in the very end, when Richie's like, we want to make the movies good again, he could have been like, I like Tori Spelling. I want Tori Spelling back, aka I want Sidney back. Made way more sense than bringing her back, even though she's been in all the movies, except for one of them. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Also, when she goes to save Amber, she grabs the knife and she runs towards the door, and Ghostface slashes her. They start fighting back and forth, right? As they're fighting back and forth, you can see on the door frame, there is a thumbprint size of blood on the door frame as they're fighting back and forth. But as soon as she gets the door shut and locked and backs away, the thumbprint is no longer there. There you go. Missing thumbprint. So after Tara gets stabbed a bunch of times and the movie starts, we're going to move on. We're going to go fast forward a little bit. So when Richie is watching Stab on his cell phone, you hear the Drew Barrymore Casey Becker scene, not the Heather Graham Casey Becker scene, aka he's watching Scream, which could be an Easter egg that could have done on purpose, just so he'd be like, oh.
Hey. You okay?
I think it's an Easter egg. But anyway, there's your little trivia part there for you. Then, when Sam goes to the goes to the break room, okay, here's my problem with this. When Billy shows up, right? Billy's there. How did she know what he looked like? I mean, I know you can see pictures of him online and stuff, but she knew where all his gunshot wounds were because they said it's her imagination, not a real ghost. That's what the director and writer says. So, if that's the case, then how does he only have bullet holes in him and he looks just like he did in the end of Scream 1? Like, if you're going to see him, why are you seeing him like that if you never saw that? Especially if it's your imagination, not him as a real ghost. And if he is a real ghost, then why does he have a bullet hole in his head? Why is it only these other bullet holes in him and stab wounds? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, okay, let's pretend like I'm okay with Billy's ghost. Or imagination, whatever. When Ghostface shows up and he stabs at her, he hits the corkboard. Well, if you look at the corkboard he hits, there's like an article and it has columns on it, right? He stabs into the third column. Yet when he goes to pull the knife out, he pulls it out of column 1 of that article. And then in the background of the rest of the shots, the stab hole's in column 3 of the article. Eh? You see that? Stab, which one did you stab? Which article line, huh? The third or the first? So moving on, and then when the kids are all talking about the Stab franchise and Mindy's explaining it, Wes says, but my mom's a character on the Stab movies. Which movie is Judy in? Because in Scream 4, they already had 7 Stab movies. Yet now in Scream 5, there's only 8 Stab movies, but Stab 8 has nothing to do with the previous movies or previous attacks, so they say. So which movie would Judy have been in? Stab 7.5? Like, there's no movie for her to be in. If Stab was Stab 9, then it would make sense. She was in Stab 8. That was the Jill Stab series. That would make, or Jill Stab movie. That would make sense. But there is no Stab. There's no Stab in between Stab 7 and 8. So which one was Judy in? But anyway, when Judy gets killed and then Wes gets out of the shower, if you look to Wes's left, the right side of the screen, on the glass of the shower, you can clearly see the cameraman is a bald-headed white guy, and like just filming clear as day. You can see almost his whole body, just standing right there next to Wes, filming the scene. You see it? So there you go. Yeah. So once Judy and Wes are dead, and Sam's outside talking to Richie on the phone, here's a couple more goofs. So one is the pizza box is weird because the logo should be on the outside, not the inside. Obviously it's product placement, which why not just, if he's holding pizza, why not just have the box turn normal where we can't see there's pizza in it, but we can see this Pizza Hut box sitting there. You know what I mean? But anyway, while he's talking to Sam, watch Sam's hair. The part goes from her left side to her right side. That's backwards. Goes from her left side to the right side and right side to the left side. In each shot, it changes. It's clear as day. You see it? Parted on the left, parted on the right. Or parted this way. See it? Parted this way, parted that way. When they go to the hospital, they leave. It's daylight outside. Let's just say it's 7-ish. And the sun's going down. By the time they get there, it's 8 maybe. It's dark though. By the time they get there, it's dark. Okay, so Dewey's dead by 8:30 at the latest. And then when Gale sees his dead body, it's morning time? So you're telling me they had Dewey there from 8:30 p.m. till 7 a.m. the next day? Just like laying there dead doing that. That's a long crime scene. But like Dewey was killed like at maybe 8 p.m. He wasn't killed like at 2 a.m. Like they drove there during daytime. Okay, let's just say he was in the morgue and then they were taking him to the coroner after that. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. When Gale and Sidney are talking to Sam, and they're like, you know, trying to convince her to stay, watch Gail's hair. Gail's hair goes from like behind the shoulder on this side to behind the shoulder on that side to both being down. It just changes throughout each shot. Gail's hair just constantly changes back and forth. And then Sidney puts a tracker on Sam's car. Okay, great, that's awesome. But what would Scream 5 have done had she not done that? How are Richie and Amber planning on getting Gale and Sidney to the house if Sidney would not have put a tracker on her car? Also, well, how can you guarantee she's even going to come to Woodsboro? Yeah, you can say because Dewey died, but wouldn't she come for his funeral, not just because he died? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense as to why she showed up. Okay, she showed up for Dewey, sure. But then she put a tracker on her car. Well, you're welcome, Richie and Amber, because how are you planning to get her there if she didn't? Doesn't make sense. It's too easy. The movie's way too easy. How about this? When Dewey dies, they take Dewey's cell phone, figure out where Sidney is. And then we go to Sidney's house, which is like 2 hours away. And Sidney's on the phone with Mark. And she's like, okay, I'll see you in a little bit, sweetie. She hangs up. And she's like, kids, what are y'all doing? Your daddy will be home in 5 minutes. And she turns the corner. Her kid's on the floor playing with something. What are you playing with? The kid turns around holding a Ghostface mask. And she's like, what? And then, she gets taken out and kidnapped. All over the news, Sidney Prescott's been kidnapped. And then Gale sees it, and Gale's like, what? Where would they take her? Where would they take Sidney? Oh, they're trying to redo the original, Stu's house. And Gale hijacks the van from her crew, and she takes off to Stu's house. Wouldn't it have been so much cooler if they kidnapped Sidney, put her in the garage, and then Gale had to crawl through the doggy door to get to Sidney, undo her, and then they run around to the front, and it's like, and then that starts with Amber coming out. Okay, so another mess up / continuity error compared to part 1, the basement. Okay, the basement, which if you watch Amber go into it, it's like you open the door, complete staircase drop right there. Yet in part 1, they pull Sidney's dad out of the pantry at that same door. So I guess in the past 25 years, they dug a basement out in the pantry. Doesn't make sense. Also, in the garage with Tatum was a refrigerator and the hot water heater and all that stuff. So how is it now in the basement? Again, it would make sense for a basement, kinda, if you had Sidney hidden in the garage. But why not just, but if you're not going to do that, then recreate the garage. Wouldn't it have been so much cooler to see Amber and Mindy in the garage talking about who the killer is versus a basement? Because the trailer showed they were at Stu's house, so it's not like we didn't know that. Sidney and Gale show up, and then both the killers are revealed. So they go into the kitchen, right, and they throw Sidney by the stove, and they put Sam where Sidney was in part 1, like in that other corner. Well, when they throw her in there, she grabs onto the counter and she leaves blood on both sides of the counter. There's clearly blood. This I noticed in theaters first time watching. So she clearly leaves blood all over that countertop, right? See it clear as day. But when Sidney and Gale attack Amber and throw her over the island and she lands in that exact same corner, the countertop is clean as can be. So I'm not sure who was cleaning the counters while everyone was fighting, but there was blood when Sam was there, and now there's no blood when Amber is there. Also, when Gale's like confronting Amber, Amber has her hands up and she's like, oh no, no, no. And you can see like her black fingernails, but in the next shot, her hands are down by her side. So moving on to the last goof / doesn't make sense / why, yeah, just... So, when Gale and Sidney are just sitting on the ambulance, Gale got shot, Sidney got stabbed with a knife this big, went into her stomach, this much went into her stomach. That's a lot. Well, don't you think that would hit some organs? Like, Neve Campbell is a small person. That would hit some organs, And then Gale got shot in the stomach. That would hit some organs. Sam got stabbed in the side. That would hit, look how far this goes. Into me! This goes to my belly button. If I stab this into my side, it goes all the way past my belly button. So it would definitely go into Sam's area. They would all three have internal bleeding. And they take out Mindy on a stretcher who got stabbed in the shoulder? Doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna call that a goof. Anyway, those are my goofs of Scream 5. Again, we're just having fun here. Don't get your panties in a wad. I do like the movie, but when you break it down, it's kind of corny. Doesn't make sense. Hopefully Scream 6 is better, and I will forgive 5. Just thank you for setting up those characters, and we're moving on. But what the hell were you thinking? Okay, so real quick, before we're done, let's talk about Neve Campbell in Scream 6, and this is my issue with it. So people are like, well, she's no longer the main character, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. I get that. But they already wrote her into the movie. They already wrote her into Scream 6. In Scream 5, if you watch the trailer of Scream 5, if you look at the poster of Scream 5, they marketed both things as a Neve Campbell, Sidney Prescott movie. The whole trailer is Neve Campbell focused. Dewey, Gale, and Sidney, they're the front and center of that trailer, yet they're in the movie for 15 minutes maybe, right? But they're the front and center of that trailer, right? They marketed it as a Sidney movie, a Sidney Scream movie, and made close to $100 million off of that. yet they don't want to pay her. They want to pay her to show up and be on set for a week and be in the movie for 15 minutes, but they want to turn around and take that cheap paid actor and use them as the face of the franchise because they know that fans will come for that. Like, it's a full bait and switch. Like, we went in thinking Sidney would be in it more than 15 minutes. I mean, even though, like, I knew that she wasn't going to be in it. But an average person who just watched the trailer, they don't want to pay her to be in Scream 6 because they're probably going to do the same thing. They're probably going to half-ass use her and then put her front and center again on the poster, in the trailer. That's the thing. You can't pay... Let's say they paid her $1 million for Scream 5. They made $100 million almost, right? So they paid her $1 million and they make 100 times that by marketing her as the face of the franchise, yet don't use her, but they want to market with her. Every real Scream fan who's been there from the beginning, and like from 96 to like 2000 something, I probably watched the movie 200 times. So I've watched Sidney Prescott fight and fight and fight. I watched her in part 2, fight and fight and fight. I watched her in part 3, fight and fight and fight. Watch her in part 4, fight. And she's the reason we come back. She's the Michael Myers. She's the Jason. She is the head of the franchise. She's not Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis said, fuck you, Halloween, and went away. She didn't come back till there was money there for her. So Neve Campbell stuck with it the whole time. But now they don't want to pay her, but they want to use her as a front and center face. Although I heard that she is going to be in Scream 6, possibly. That after all the backlash that they may have gotten her on set, but they just don't want to tell nobody yet. So maybe she'll show up, which, here's the thing. This would be an amazing twist in Scream 7 if they got her back. What if Mark Kincaid's the killer in Scream 7? Because he survived in Scream 3, right? Which is weird, because multiple times Roman could have killed him, but he didn't. Like when he first comes in, and he has the gun on Sidney, and then he stabs him, and he didn't kill him, right? He leaves him there with Dewey and Gale. And then, when him and Sidney are fighting, Mark comes in again. He hits him with a chair. Still, gets a gun, still doesn't shoot the cop. Why are you keeping the cop alive? Doesn't make sense. Then, as soon as Roman dies, Mark's like, okay, yeah, we're good. Yeah, everyone's good. Oh, shit, I wasn't going to kill nobody. I didn't kill shit. What if the whole time Mark was in on it? It would make sense, wouldn't it? And that Mark was supposed to be there, supposed to be knocked out, so that when Sidney and Gale and Dewey all died, Mark would have been like, yeah, it was Sidney. She's crazy. Huh? Mark was the backup plan. Mark was going to be the witness to tell everyone, because he's a cop too. So he is just a very long con. He's doing a long con, right? Like it's he's playing a long game. And then he married Sidney, and now he's had kids with her and everything, just so now he can be like, you know what? You know what, Sidney? Ha! Gotcha, bitch. And then we could see like Neve Campbell have like a full breakdown. Like they're just completely just like, what? What? My first boyfriend ever was a killer, and now my husband of 10 plus years is also a killer. Like, oh my god. Huh? Wouldn't that have been good? See that? That could work. There you go. And then the only people she has left are her kids. And after she kills her husband, her and her kids go on. And again, guess what happens? Her kid goes to high school, and then someone in her kid's high school decides to, you're that daughter of Sidney Prescott. Let's have a little fun, shall we? And we start a whole other trilogy of Sidney's kids being Sidney, but Sidney's there too because she's the mom, helping her kids get through high school and college. There you go. I just wrote you Scream 7, 8, and 9. Bam. There you go. Sidney and Mark, part 7, and then her kids in high school and her kids in college. There you go. And then when her kids are in college, she sacrifices herself at the very end to save her kid. But maybe she lives. There you go. That is my top goofs, plus a ramble about Neve Campbell of Scream 5/Scream 2022. Did you guys have fun? Do you hate me for hating Scream 5 sometimes? If you do, leave a like. And subscribe and comment and do all that jazz. And put on your bell notification, because I'm going to start doing the Halloween franchise come next week for October. So, Goofs of Halloween, and comment below what movies you want to see Goofs of, and maybe I'll do that one after Halloween. Alright, you can follow me on Instagram, Beth Clark. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say, so I hope you have a good day.